All right, this is the May 28th, 2020 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. Okay,
Gail, there's
and
several people not muted, Larry.
yeah, we need to have you mute, please.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody, Larry, then you just unmute yourself. How's that? Okay, everybody's muted.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
It's easier. All right, I've called the meeting to order pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 20, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission is being conducted through remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public are permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by tuning to the BCAT Government Cable Access Channel or the BCAT Government Meetings Facebook Live feed channel, or you can join the meeting over by calling at the phone number. The phone number is being shown on the screen now. It happens to be 408-418-9388. And the meeting ID number is 711-348-111. Okay, and so to join the WebEx Live conference, you just have to click on the link. You can go to the Conservation Commission's meeting page or the Town of Burlington's town calendar. And if you copy the entire link, it should work and get you in. New public hearings open tonight will not usually be closed so as to allow comments from those who are unable to access or are uncomfortable with the technology. Comments regarding public hearings should be emailed to conservation@burlington.org. In a minute, I will call on the roll call. We will ask applicants or proponents of projects or anyone who's on the agenda to introduce themselves before they talk. We will have John Keeley and Eileen Coleman, who will keep an eye on if anybody raises their hand using that electronic function. All votes will be by roll call, and the meeting is now being recorded. The following roll call is being called. Please indicate, unmute yourself and say here, present, I, or something that indicates your voice. Commissioner Don Bernstein.
Present.
Commissioner Gil Lima.
Here.
Commissioner Indra Deb.
Here.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Here.
Commissioner Jennifer O'Riordan.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Loturco.
Is that here?
Okay. Associate Commissioner Ken Moffett.
Here.
Thank you, Ken. Administrator for the commission, John Keeley.
Here.
Assistant Administrator Eileen Coleman for the commission. Okay. So I think we're all set. The first meeting item on the agenda after the roll call is citizens' time. Is there anyone who has joined the meeting by telephone or by clicking on the link who would like to say something as part of citizens' time that is not on the agenda? Okay, the record should show no one volunteered any citizens' comments at all at this time. Item 3 is the approval of minutes. It's for May 14th, 2020. Are we in a position to approve those minutes?
Yes.
Anyone have a comment?
This
Okay.
looked fine.
All right. All right. So then could I have a motion to approve? Please identify yourself or a motion.
Zed, so move. Bill,
Oh, is there a second? Okay. Thank you. All right. Unless there's discussion, I'll call the roll call vote. Please indicate aye or nay. Dawn,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
Indra,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is item 4A and 4B. We'll take in order. The first one is a request for certificate of compliance, a release of bond for 30 Francis Wyman Road. It's by the Richfield Company, LLC, and this one is DEP number 122-590. Is someone here from that? Mr. Litchfield, I think I heard you.
He's still muted.
I think he is perhaps watching, but I know he was here, so I'm sure he's listening. Okay. John or Eileen, you have.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Okay, it's Gary. I'm here. Yep.
All right. Good to see you. We didn't lose you.
No, thank you.
Okay. We're on 30 Francis Wyman Road. John or Eileen, do you have comments relative to the request for certificate?
I visited the sites a couple of times. I've sent everybody pictures. 30 looked fine. It was well stabilized. They've got their wetland sign up. They've got their rocks in place. At the time that I visited last, maybe Monday, they were actually putting in the trench, the gravel drainage for 28A. So at this time, the drainage is complete, but the grass is still pretty bare there.
Yeah, it is. They just hand seeded that. You are correct.
Okay.
May, Larry, can I explain that?
Please do. Go ahead.
Yes. When I applied for this, everything there was perfectly fine. And then the customer who's living in the house noticed they were getting a little bit of weeping of water coming right up through the concrete floor in the basement. And even though the basement is, 8 inches higher than the backyard, when the French drain was done, it didn't continue far enough. So to relieve that hydrostatic pressure, we just added a little more stone and dug a trench down. So the top of that trench is recently seeded, as recently as a week ago. But when we applied, that didn't happen. But as soon as we got the call from the customer, we went right out and solved the problem for them and then reloomed and seeded. But it's just the order of events kind of messed me up.
Yeah, Gary, does your comment apply to 30 and 28A?
No, just 28A, and quite frankly, if you wanted to say, have someone go back out and look at it, in the next meeting, if just pending another reinspection to make sure the grass is growing, to say at the next meeting or so, that would be fine.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, thank
30
you.
is good to go, though. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure which one you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go through, see if the commissioners have any further comment. We'll start with number 30 and dispose of that one first. 30 Francis Wyman Road. Dawn, any comment?
I actually have an observation and a question, and questions just regarding the wetlands that we're protecting here. If I could share my screen for a minute, I have a couple of Google Earth pictures I wanted to show you and ask a question about.
Sure. I mean, you can first ask your question and then see if we need to see the pictures.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good idea. The question is this. I looked on, I just wanted to get an overview of the site, and I looked through Google Earth, and what I did see was that about, I'm going to estimate 800 yards diagonally across the wetlands from that property, there is an industrial park. And And what the images are indicating, and these pictures were taken in May of last year, but the images are indicating some significant or noticeable environmental damage around the parking lot areas of that property. And I'm just curious as to, one, if that is part of Burlington, I think it is. And two, is this something that has been addressed or is even significant?
John or Eileen, would you like to comment on that question by Don, please?
Sure, I can comment. That would be Billerica.
Okay.
These properties border right on the town line, so that industrial property is not Burlington.
Okay, that's off of
But
Plank Street.
if you want to send it to me, I can forward it to our counterparts in Billerica, though.
That's great. Will do.
Okay.
Otherwise, no further comments.
All right, thank you, Don. Gail?
Yes, the property looks like well stabilized, and I think it's good to go.
All right, Indra?
Yeah, I looked at the photographs. It looks good to me. And good.
Bill?
30, just refresh me now. Looking at the properties, 30 is the one on the left.
Yes.
Okay,
30
I have no problem. No problem.
Okay. Yeah, Jennifer?
Yeah, I had the chance to go and do a site visit today myself, and I agree. I think that it looks like it's well stabilized, and the signage letting people know that it's a conservation area back there is great too.
Right.
Yeah, did you like our signs, by the way? I thought they came out pretty good.
Yeah, those are cute.
Yeah.
All right, Ed?
Yeah, the only thing I was out yesterday, I noticed everything seemed good except for in that wetlands, a lot of the cut trees and stuff like that. Is that going to be removed?
But it would not be our intent to remove it. We don't go in there for any reason because we really can't, and it wasn't on the notice of intent. And some of those trees have come down since we started working there, and some of them were down before, certainly.
I'm looking at some fresh cuts, maybe a 6 inches in diameter tree that was cut.
No, not noticed by me. Don't know, but if the commission would prefer to see that out of there, then I certainly can have guys go in by hand. And if it's only 6 inch around, certainly it can be removed. Possibly someone else came by and dumped something, or maybe a tree was blown down in one of the recent windstorms, and my guys just cut it left or right where it was and did not take it. But
that could be it.
You tell me whatever your direction is, we can accommodate it.
It just looked like it's something that should be removed. But I think
Okay.
it might have
Wish
been.
of the commission, we will make sure we get it out of there.
Is it something, usually when stuff falls in the wetlands, we don't necessarily rush to remove it because it does provide perhaps some habitat value and things like that. John, do you have a comment on that? Or Eileen?
Yeah, I'd just leave it there. It's habitat, it's biomass. I mean, it'll decay. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let that be the last word on the subject unless commissioners feel differently, I guess.
I'm fine.
So, Kent, any comment on this one? 30, Francis Wyman.
No, I agree with Jennifer. When I did a drive-by yesterday, it looked good, and the signs are actually pretty good. It's good to show people that it is conservation, so it's pretty helpful.
All right, thank you, Kent. The chair agrees with these comments that there is no issue. Could I have a motion to release the certificate of compliance for 30 Francis Lyman Road, Richfield Company, LLC, DEP file number 122-590?
Gail, so moved.
Second?
Bill, second.
All right. How do you vote, Don? I'll go to Gail.
Okay, I agree. Aye.
Okay, Gail,
Yes, I'm in favor.
Indra,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
All right, chair votes yes, that's unanimous. How much bond was on this property, Eileen or John?
So we don't have the files. We
Forgot
don't
to
have the
check.
files.
I'm
We don't
sorry.
have the file. We don't have the files with us, so I'm not sure. It's probably the 2,500 or
Oh, it was
3,500.
3,500.
3,500. Okay.
Who's counting?
All right. All right, so I would entertain a motion on the bond. I did not hear of any issues for this property. So release of the bond. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, what is the motion? To full release?
Indra, yeah, full 35
Release.
hours
All
release.
right. All right, is there a second?
Gail, second.
All right. I'm going to go down the list, starting with Don. Don,
Aye, aye,
Gail,
Aye.
Indra,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Ed.
Aye.
Chair votes yes, that's unanimous. Okay, the full release of the bond has been voted.
Thank
Okay,
you.
now let's go to certificate of compliance, 28A Francis Wyman Road. As Mr. Litchfield said, we saw one issue that is somewhat outstanding. They put in the drainage pipe. They seeded along the side of the property all the way down to where the discharge pipe is. You can see the fresh seed and so forth. So that's one item noted. John or Eileen, do you have any further comment on 28A Francis Wyman Road request for certificate of compliance?
No, other than the bare patches, no.
All right, let's go down the list, see if anyone else has anything. Don, any further comment?
no further comment.
Gail?
No, just the bare patches and so are you able to actually water the lawn now? Because I thought there was a ban on, new lawns and watering and so forth. And I just wonder if, there's going to be a delay in that being seeded, whether, there should be something else to hold that in place, some straw or something like that that's put down to keep the sediment in place.
The watering ban has been lifted. This is Bill.
It has? Okay.
Oh, it's odd even days, I think.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Gail. Indra?
None.
Okay, Bill, anything further on this property?
I wasn't impressed with the barrier along the wetland area. The stones that were there, there's big spaces, easy enough to put a lawnmower or a wheelbarrow through.
This is on which lot?
Again, refresh me again. When you're looking at them, 28A was the one on the right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The middle.
Yeah. The stones were widely spaced.
So here's a suggestion. Gary, the people at 30 want to remove their stones and put in a fence.
Okay.
So maybe some of those stones that they're pulling out, you could just put over a 28A between the other ones.
Actually, let me this is the chair. Let me comment on this. I spoke with the owner today, and he seemed to indicate that 28A, was planning on putting in a fence. So before we start asking anybody to move stones, I think that's what the gentleman told me today, because he was asking me. He said, "I'm planning to put in a fence, and I want to know, should I put it right where the hay bales are, and et cetera, et cetera."
So this Gail, are they putting in fences without gates?
I have no idea. I didn't get into that much detail.
All right.
Yeah, they haven't actually formally applied.
Okay.
They know they have to apply?
I tell them that they do. Am I correct, Mr. Chairman, that in order to put a fence where they're likely to do, they do need to come before the board?
John, isn't it normally if they're within 20 foot, the no disturb, we would like to take a look at it and have you run it by the staff?
Right, staff. So I mean, if they're just replacing one demarcation type with another, fence with boulders, as long as it's in the same place, we can review it administratively. We don't have to require a filing.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right.
This is Ed. I concur with that yesterday too, Larry, that he said he's going to put a fence right in front of the boulders.
Okay. All right. And where was I? Who did I leave off with? Did I call Bill?
Yes, I was the last one.
All right, Jennifer, any further comment on 28A?
No, everything the other commissioners have said, I agree with.
All right, Ed,
Yes.
Kent, anything further?
No, no comment.
All right, so I didn't hear any issues unless somebody has an objection to releasing the certificate. Could I have a motion to release the certificate of compliance, issue it for 28A Francis Wyman Road to the Richfield Company DEP file number 122-589?
This is it.
Indra, so moved.
All right, who issued the motion?
No, that is Ed or me. This is Indra.
Yeah, okay. So,
This is it. I'll second.
all right, thank you for conceding, Ed. All right, if there's nothing further, could I have a indication of whether you approve the motion for releasing the certificate? John,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
Indra,
Aye.
Bill.
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
the con. I'm on a Zoom meeting for Francis Wyman. So I'm almost done.
Bill.
I'm having trouble with audio. This is Bill. But I
Okay.
vote yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Ed.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. That's unanimous for release of certificate 28A Francis Wyman Road. Okay, now we have consideration of the bond. The obvious question for the commission is to decide, do they want to release a partial amount or hold it, and for how long would you hold it until it's established or until it germinates? I'd like to hear comments. John or Eileen, do you have a comment on that issue before we go to the commissioners?
Yeah, I'm thinking about this. Larry, you and I discussed it earlier. You could maybe retain a small portion of the bond until just, have them come back to us in just a couple of months. I can reinspect.
That would be fine.
All right. Can we, if we did that, John or Eileen, before the commissioners discuss that, can we do that administratively? That the motion could incorporate holding a certain amount of the bond and to be released by the administrative staff when it's established?
That's fine.
Does that sound good, John?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's see if there's anything, let's see, anything further want to comment on the issue of releasing the bond before we get to a motion? Is there anyone? Please identify yourself. All right, everybody has muted themselves. Okay.
How much is the bond?
That one is also $3,500.
Okay.
All right. Nice
I
music.
was,
Okay.
I was thinking, Mr. Chairman, I was thinking, this is Indra. Out of 3,500, maybe we release 2,000? How it sounds?
I don't know. Anybody have a comment on that? Any other commissioner would like to make a comment? Please identify yourself. All right. I don't hear any other comment. Okay. Could I have a motion incorporating one, release of so much, holding back so much to be released at the discretion of the staff when the seat has been established? Could I have a motion or something like that with the amount specified?
So moved.
Got to specify an amount and identify yourself. The total has to add up to 3,500.
This is Bill. I propose that we release 2,500, hold 1,000 until the three seated and the demarcation line is to our satisfaction.
Ms. Gale, I second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. There's a motion on the floor to release 2,500 out of 3,500 for the bond at 28A Francis Wyman Road, with $1,000 being held back just to verify that the the seated area along the side and towards the back has established itself. Okay, and it would be released by the staff upon request by Mr. Litch. All right.
The
Dawn,
motion
how do you
included
vote?
the fence.
Yeah, go ahead.
The motion included the fence, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and the fence is in the motion upon satisfaction that the fence is established properly. Does that sound right?
Yeah, either the fence or more boulders. I mean, as long as the line is established properly.
Okay. All right. I think we hopefully we're clear in the motion. Dawn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Gail?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Indra?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Jen?
Yes.
Jennifer? All right. And Ed?
I,
Chair votes yes. That's unanimous. Mr. Litchfield, I think you're all set.
I think so, and thank you all very much for your time. I know this isn't an easy way to run these meetings, and it is much appreciated that we can keep things moving for
Thank you. One thing, Mr. Litchfield.
Yeah.
The owner at 28A seemed to indicate that he was going to request to get a copy of the certificate for his files. So you may already usually do that anyway.
No question. Yep. I will mail them a copy when I get it. And I forget if I think I have my attorney that I'll put it on record.
All right.
Yeah. So it's my obligation to get it recorded. So, and I'll send them and I will send them a copy.
Very good. All right. So have a good evening, Gary.
Okay. And thanks very much again.
You're welcome.
Good night. Bye.
Take care.
Larry, if I may interject a comment, we have one item that is being continued. I think that should be announced.
Yes, I forgot. Yes. Item number 7 on the agenda. Item 7, a continued public hearing, notice of intent, 150 Lexington Street. It's the construction of a new Citizens Bank building, DEP file number 122-642. It happens to be located in the parking lot of the Kohl's department store. It was being continued until June 11th. Bill, thank you.
Larry, this is Gail. I just have a comment. While Bill, regarding the easement of the water restrictions. So I'm reading it right now, and it says irrigation to establish a new lawn and new plantings during the months of April, May, September, and October. So does that mean, like, come June, you can't start a new lawn?
Yeah, they discourage new lawns in June, July, and August.
Okay, so I guess this one's already established, so it would be covered then. So never mind. Okay.
Right.
You actually have to apply for a waiver. I had to do that for my lawn, and you have to do that well in advance. So if they did reseed it, it's probably just gonna be for watering it.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. And so are you supposed to restrict watering in June? Therefore, is that what it means?
Just new lawns. So you can't start a new lawn during the summer, which makes sense. You shouldn't be starting a new lawn in the summer anyways. But the sprinklers are the same as it used to be otherwise.
Oh, okay. I got it. All right. So now, thank you, Gail. Now we are on item 5. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a virtual public meeting on Thursday, May 28th, beginning at 7 p.m. through Cisco WebEx. And the notice, of course, gives all the stuff on how to join the meeting. We've gone over that already. During this time, a request for determination of applicability filed by Ricardo Souza will be acted upon by the Commission. The Commission will be taking all information related to the proposed installation of a farmer's porch and a decorative wall within the riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone to bank bordering vegetative wetlands located at 43 Bedford Street in Burlington, and will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. The application is being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the state's Wetland Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. The application material is available for an email request at conservation@burlington.org if someone would like to look at the application. Okay, is there someone here for that? Please identify yourself.
Yeah, that's Ricardo Souza. I'm here.
All right, sir. Thank you for joining us. Usually the way we work this is you get to say a summary of whatever you would like to say, and then we just handle it after you're done talking.
I think it's Eileen already explained me how that works, because when I apply, I didn't even know I have to for the wetland. So she already explained. She came over and she's been helping me with this
Sure.
issue.
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna straighten that out for you tonight. So do you want to say what you've done, or have done, or are going to do?
It's pretty much is being done at like 70%. It's like in the front my existing driveway, and we used to have a lot of rain, and the door we replaced like 2 front door of the house. So I decided to put a little front porch. It's a 5 feet on top my existing driveway, and we use the footings in the front of the house to do the deck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for those comments. John or Eileen, would you like to make any comments on this one? 43 Bedford Street. Eileen or John?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute myself and stop sharing for a second. Sorry about that. So as Ricardo explained, I think he genuinely didn't realize that he had to get possibly either a building permit, and certainly didn't realize he had to get anything from us, because when I first I knew about it was when a building permit application went to me for approval, and I spoke to him, and I went out and I explained that because he's close to the stream and close to wetlands, that that he had to file. So he's just enclosed his porch. The footings were going through the pervious surface of his existing driveway. And while I was out there, it became apparent that he had also replaced a kind of a decorative wall at the end of his driveway at some point in the last year or two. So I don't think he and his wife just realized that they needed to get permission. So the Sandy Brook runs right through their property. So the porch is something like 70 feet away from the brook, and there's also they're also in the buffer zone to bank and bordering vegetated wetland.
Mm-hmm. So are there any issues at this point, Eileen?
There aren't. When I went out, as I said, I'm not sure he realized he had to wait to get all the permits before he actually started the work. So most of the work had been done, and it was. I think I may have sent pictures. The footings were through pervious surface, so I didn't require any erosion controls because there was nothing to control at that point. So no, I don't really have any issues with this current project.
All right. So there's no comments of concern that you wish to expound on. All right. So so let me see if any of the commissioners have any comments on this one. This is for 43 Bedford Street. Don, comments?
I'll go with Eileen's assessment.
All right. Gail?
No.
All right. Indra?
No.
Bill?
No, the footings were a simple thing, didn't affect the wetland boundaries at all, and I thought it looked very nice, came out good.
Okay. All right. Ed?
No, I was there yesterday and I thought it looked pretty good. Oh.
And how about Kent? Anything further from you?
No, I thought it looked good when I did a drive-by, and I agree with Eileen's comments.
All right. So, and the chair has nothing further. So let me ask, is there anyone in the audience that has anybody who is an abutter or someone online, I guess you'd say, that would like to make a comment for 43 Bedford Street? All right. The record will show that we heard from no one else on this one. All right. So we have a draft negative conditional determination. Is that correct, Eileen?
Yes, that's correct. I'll just share it now and I'll read through it.
Please do.
Figure this out. Okay. Right. Okay, so let me make this bigger so everybody can see it. The applicant proposed to install a 5 by 20 foot porch enclosure at the top of the driveway and entrance to the house. In May, conservation staff determined that work was already underway, made a site visit with the owners, and found that a decorative wall at the end of the driveway had also been replaced. Staff required the owners to file retroactively with the commission. The work was within the 200-foot riverfront area to Sandy Brook, which runs through the eastern side of the property, and within a 100-foot buffer zone to bank and bordering vegetated wetland. The proposed work was approximately 70 feet from the brook. I'm proposing that the commission votes to issue a negative determination of applicability. And quite a lot of the conditions are kind of moot because the work is done. But in summary, the work is only for the project outlined above, and no additional work can occur other than the planting of native trees or shrubs without prior approval of the Conservation Commission or staff. And I think that Ricardo and his wife do understand that now. And then for this or for future projects, he should also just be aware that construction and demolition materials should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. It should not stockpile within 50 feet of the wetlands, and should avoid tracking of sediments into roadways, and avoid filling or significant grading of the property, again, without coming back to conservation for approval. I will just mention that for Ricardo, any debris, sediment, lawn clippings, and landscaping materials should not be dumped in the vegetated wetlands or the stream, just in case that wasn't obvious.
Okay. All right. Is there any comment from anyone on the commission to those conditions? Please identify yourself. Okay. There does not seem to be any comments. Okay, so could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the property at 43 Bedford Street for what was the installation of a farmer's porch and decorative wall?
Zed, so move.
Second, this is Indra.
All right, so let's see how you vote. Don?
Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
Indra?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Yes.
All right, Ed?
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes yes. That's unanimous. All right, sir, I think you're all set. You'll be getting some paperwork in a few days. Is that correct, Eileen?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So, sir, thank you very much for coming in. Even though it's after the fact, we appreciate you taking care of this paperwork with Eileen.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you.
All right. Have a good evening, sir. Okay. The next item on the agenda is request for extension to the Burlington Wetland Bylaw permit. It's called the General Walker Estates. It's labeled as 101 Francis Wyman Road and Dartmouth Street. It says Waypoint General Contracting. Could people who are here for that please clearly state your name and identify yourself?
This is Ed Champy from Waypoint General Contracting.
Anyone else?
Just me from our side.
All right, very good. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a request. Sir, would you like to make any comments about the status of the project, what has yet to be done, any issues that you're working on to make the commission aware of? Some of these may have been discussed the last time I think you were in, which was quite a while ago. You may want to make some comments.
It wasn't. Unfortunately, Mr. Keeley, excuse me, has I think observed the process quite a bit. There hasn't been a substantial amount of work done, primarily as far as the work on the site. What we've been doing is going through the process for a minor engineering change. We knew that at our last meeting. However, the timing for this has been extensive. there was a request for a peer review from the building or engineering department or planning board, one or all of the three. Peer review was sought, went out to bid, hired. They gave their comments. They were reviewed, and at a planning board meeting, it wasn't last week, but it was 2 weeks prior to that. There was some discussion on over the just discussing the findings in the minor engineering change, and it did not get voted on. There are two other items that the board is I don't know if you want to say discussing or reviewing or examining, which we don't believe are part of the minor engineering change. However, the board is holding on that decision while they discuss boulders that are along the driveway of let's see, it would be 5 Dartmouth Road, which is adjacent to the driveway, and also the elevation of the rear yard, the finished grade. There's a difference between the finished grade and what the original lot was approved for. However, we planned, when we had submitted the house that's built on the lot currently, and it was approved, that house extended into the prior grade. So there's a discussion going back and forth on that, on the rear grade. However, neither of those are adjacent to or abutting the wetlands areas. So those are the primary, that's where we're at. So we have a minor engineering change, and then 2 items which fall outside of the minor engineering change, which are the boulders along the wall, the driveway, which there's been discussion whether they're structural or not. They're under 4 feet, so we have a difference of opinion with the board. And secondly would be the elevation of the rear yard, where we consider it finished grading, and the board believes that it should be equal to what was originally approved, and there's a difference in opinion there as well. On the minor engineering change, we all agree. So
All right. So when you refer to board, you're talking about the planning board, of course.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes.
All right. Yeah, that's okay. All right.
So we're here today to request an extension for the wetland permit. In addition to that, and real quickly, I'll try and be brief, knowing that you're all have other things to do as well. We did clean out the catch basins. We put new silt sacks in the catch basins, and we had Wayne drains come in and clean out all of the sediment from all the chambers, as well as the first row of chambers, and we cambered it. So we've supplied that to the planning board, and we can of course supply it to you folks if you're interested in it. Our request, not only beyond the extension, is that, it's been a substantial amount of time since we've been on the site. And if the board wishes, that is the Conservation Commission wishes, with John's oversight, we'd be happy to replace silt sack, put a silt sack at the end of what is now, the address will be 6 Dartmouth Road, to keep sediment from reaching the street. In addition to that, any bales of hay or silt socks that line the site or staking, we'd be more than comfortable with replacing that, knowing that it's been there for a substantial amount of time.
All right. John or Eileen, would you be proposing doing a site walk or something prior to them coming in for a minor engineering change and so forth?
Okay, so I'd like to separate the 2 issues. So they're here tonight just for the extension. You had issued an extension just 6 months ago because there were issues on the site. There hadn't been hadn't been much construction, but there were some issues. And so you gave a short-term extension. I've been following and been involved in the whole planning board procedure for the discrepancies and the minor engineering change. And I have sort of waited to bring it before the Conservation Commission, so it wouldn't be it would be too duplicative. There was a peer reviewer, so it was getting thoroughly vetted. What I would recommend is that we put the minor engineering change on a Conservation Commission agenda in June. We can certainly do a site walk before then. Looking at what the June 11th agenda is, I'd maybe recommend putting it on the June 25th agenda. But in the meantime, this permit, which is a bylaw-only wetland permit, is about to expire, so it needs an extension. And I'd recommend, I don't think 3 years is necessary, but probably a couple of years just to wrap this thing up.
Okay. Do you, John or Eileen, do you, either of you see any reason why we should not be doing the extension on this?
No.
Okay. So there's no outstanding violations that we've gotten no attention to at all, or something that is serious?
Everything has gotten very serious attention. As Mr. Champy just mentioned, the peer reviewer called out sediment in the infiltration system, including in the isolator row. It was all vacked out, cameraed. So everything is basically in compliance now. So yeah, no issues.
All right. So therefore, it's not a showstopper for giving the extension, in your opinion.
Correct.
All right. Okay, so we're only considering extending the order of conditions. Does Mr. Champy, does 2 years seem to fit the bill with what you need?
I believe that's more than sufficient. However, we can't control our start date, and so if you would, we want to finish as soon as possible. But assuming that it takes another 6 months to get through the planning board, because we don't anticipate this being an easy process. We've already been there for 6 months, and just with a minor engineering change, so if we could do 2.5 years. I'm not planning on lingering once I can start work, but we've been sitting still for 11 months right now.
Okay, Larry.
So
the standard is a 3-year extension. I would just go with that then.
Okay. All right. As I was saying, you must be frustrated, sir. Okay, so, all right. So we're looking at a 3-year extension. So, I think the best thing to do is have a motion and then discuss it, in case there is any discussion. So, could I have a motion to issue a 3-year extension to the project called? Well, wait, before I do that, is there anyone else on the line that would like to make a comment? We're only talking about the extension of the permit, the bylaw permit. All right. Okay. So I covered that. No one that seems to be would like to make a comment on the extension. All right. Could I have a motion to issue a 3-year extension for the project known as General Walker Estates, 101 Francis Wyman Road in Dartmouth Street?
This is it. Moved.
All right. Is a second?
Indra, second.
All right. If anyone would like to comment, anyone have a comment on this, please identify yourself. There's a motion on the floor about extending the wetlands bylaw permit. All right, we'll vote. Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. That's unanimous. All right, sir, you're all set for 3 more years.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, perhaps we'll possibly see you in late June for talking about the minor engineering changes.
Yeah, we hope so. We'll see you then.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next on the agenda is a request for a minor engineering change, Wheeler Road. This is the Burlington Jumbo Self-Storage DEP file number 122-604. This particular project, I should note remind the commission that we actually have 2 separate jurisdictions in a sense. We have DEP superseding order of conditions. Ours was superseded, and we have that in effect. We also have our own bylaw, Article 14 permit, currently in effect. And so part of the discussion may involve making them consistent. All right, so someone here representing this project.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman? Robert
Yes.
Buckley, Riemann Bronstein. How are you this evening?
Very good. Good to hear from you.
Glad to see everyone's healthy. This emanates from the final design plans necessitating some minor changes to the building. We decided that we would go through the minor engineering change at the town level before we submitted to DEP, given the fact that they're working remotely. Lost the picture. And wanted to have one set of plans go into DEP for their approval with respect to the superseding order. So I will have Andy Graves, I believe is from BL Companies, who is on the line, who is the site civil and architect for the project, explain the nature of the changes.
Can you hear me? This is Andrew Graves of BL Companies.
Yes, Andrew, we do hear you.
Okay. So essentially, as part of the development of construction documents, there were some very, very minor changes to the site plan and the building plans. As a result, just the refinement of design details and information from the manufacturer of the underground galleries. So they're all very minor. There's a letter was sent outlining the changes. One change was there was pavement on Rounderway at the rear of the building. It had to come out to allow for the installation of footings, which we're going to replace and put back in, so there's no change in.
And sorry to interrupt you. This is Eileen. Do you want me to put up the plans while you're talking?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay, then you can just talk me through where you want me to go. Okay.
So you want to go to sheet SP1. See the third file.
Yep. Give me. I'm just open. Which one?
Go to SP1.
Okay.
Going.
How far down is it? Is it faster if I just?
Oh. Couple more sheets.
Got the circle. Keep talking.
I think it's the next sheet. Going.
Sorry, SP1?
SP1. That's great.
SP1. Sorry, my laptop's having a hard time keeping up.
It's the sheet before the grading and drainage. It's the sheet prior to that.
Did I go too far?
Too far.
Did you say I went too far?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Why don't you just keep talking and I'll get to ST1.
Okay.
I don't want to hold you up.
So there was a pavement at the rear of the building. Actually, you can probably see on any of these sheets. That was being replaced as old pavement and being reinstalled simply because it had to be removed to allow for the placement of foundation footings. There was a decorative fence under the building that was initially submitted as being the front of the retaining wall. So you can zoom in, you can see the clouded area at the rear of the building near Route 128, showing the pavement that's going to be replaced.
In here?
At the back of the building?
Yep.
I zoom in a little bit more. You can see the line of disturbance has been backed out to the paved area at the rear where you can see the note that we want to move and replace pavement at the rear, something to allow installation of the building foundation. The second change was a decorative fence under the building adjoining the parking lot. You see that long vertical clouded area on the side of the parking lot. The fence was originally installed in front of the retaining wall, now it's being installed on the top of the retaining wall. Again, a very minor change in the detailing. The third change was the invert at the bottom of the detention system. The detention system is under the parking lot, under the building. It was made 3 inches deeper to accommodate a 6-inch, 9-inch layer of stone rather than 6 inches. And this simply a result of further coordination with the gallery manufacturer. At the rear of the detention system, the outlet discharge from the infiltration detention system was adjusted slightly to accommodate Some changes in the location of the columns supporting the building above. No change in the overall design of the system, just move the outlet for the detention system slightly. The fifth change was just adding inspection port manholes to the detention system. Normal requirement, which weren't shown initially. At the time of the submission of detailed site design, we had not designed the roof drainage system yet. So the downspouts coming down the side of the building and tying into the detention system hadn't been designed yet. So the locations of those tie-ins from the roof drains to the detention system were adjusted slightly. And the last item, well, three more items. At the front of the building where you're entering the parking area, the grades, there's a vertical lift gate. The driveway goes under the building and the grades were adjusted slightly to accommodate the details of how that lift gate operates and the size of the mechanism there. There was some coordination that was required at the back of the building. There were some concrete stoops that were not coordinated with the location of the doors in the architectural plans, and those were coordinated. So the stoops moved a little bit. No stoops were added. They just slid around a bit. And the last item was actually a request from Captain Hanifin. He requested, in order to make the maneuvering of his fire trucks easier, that we do mountable curbing. So initially we had 6-inch vertical granite curbs, and now they're sloped granite curbs set in concrete, so the trucks can mount the curbs to make their turning a little bit easier. That is the substance of the changes. Again, all simply very minor adjustments to accommodate final coordination with construction documents in the building and site civil engineering.
Okay, John or Eileen, on the changes that have been made, that have been just stated on the site plan, do either of you feel that any of them are problematic or in themselves, or any of them have issues with respect to less protection of resource areas?
This is John. So I don't think that there's any issues. The main issue really is coordination of the permit with the superseding order and making sure that we stay,
right,
in sync. But I mean, so DUP will be reviewing this as well. I mean, I don't see any of those changes as being very significant.
Okay, and it doesn't make any less protective under our order of the resources, does it?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So let me ask the commissioners if they have any comments on this. And our associate commissioner. Start with Dawn again. Dawn, any comment?
No comments.
Gail? Gail?
Said no.
Oh, okay, sorry. Indra?
No comment.
Bill Boyden?
I have no comments.
No comments.
Ed? All right, Ed.
Larry.
Yes.
Larry, this is John. I did get a chat comment from somebody saying how difficult it was to understand Mr. Graves. So since you're not making a decision on this tonight, I would just say that anybody who wants copies of the minor engineering change can email us and we can send it to them.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so Ed, any comment?
No comment.
It's just one of the comments that you said. I was just surprised that our order of conditions didn't ask for inspection port manholes for the underground detention retention system. Normally we ask for that. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment?
Betsy Hughes.
Yes.
And I have a question. I was the one who said we couldn't hear what he was saying.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure what it is, so I'm glad you're going to put something so we can actually read it. Am I correct in that a decision is not going to be made tonight on this?
That's what our administrator is suggesting.
Okay, that would be good because I definitely have comments about this development, but it's hard for me to be specific to what is being referred to tonight in the absence of really being able to hear what he said.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Larry.
Yes.
Hi, this is Dave Webb, town meeting member, precinct 7.
Yes, Dave.
And I echo what Betsy's saying. I think a bunch of us, especially in town meeting in the local area, think this is a absolutely terrible place to put this development. We've fought it before, and I realize that this is what's before you tonight is just a minor engineering change, which was brought on by the state DPW, DPE, whatever they are, Environmental Affairs, and not a whole lot you can do about it. But I just wanted to again state that many of us in the local area think this is a terrible place. It's sensitive wetlands. There's questions about the safety at the storage facility, and we just think it's a terrible idea to put it there. So I just thought we would put.
Yeah. Dave, your comment is in line with other comments that have been made at the previous hearings when this was going in effect. I understand. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Please identify who you are.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Kazanjian. I'm a resident. Hi, I'm a resident of Burlington, and I happened to take a walk over to view the area, proposed area where this warehouse might go. And I concur with the other town meeting members that I think this is not the best use of that land, and object to the warehouse, storage warehouse being in that particular area. Wheeler Road and Blanchard Road are heavily traveled at many hours of the day and has added to a lot of traffic congestion. So my thinking is that that would not be a good location, and I wanted to state that.
Right. I understand your point of view, and I also understand that many town meeting members feel this way. The project was appealed and was approved again by DEP, and as we originally approved it maintain it under our bylaw. It went through after extensive review. It is, you're free to make any comment you want, but the issue that will be continued is about the minor engineering changes, and I certainly understand how you feel.
Thank you for that. I just feel that during this time of the pandemic, it's difficult for a lot of the people who would know about this normally haven't had the opportunity to become aware of what's proposed for that area. And I know that if they were aware, they would have great reservations about putting something like that in that location. So thank you for understanding.
I certainly do understand how many of the residents in the area feel. Okay. Yes.
Larry, this is John. So I just emailed copies of the minor engineering change to Betsy Hughes and David Webb because they couldn't really hear Mr. Graves that well. So I just sent out copies.
All right. And anyone else who requests it can request it at what the email address, conservation@burlington.org, John?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So what you're suggesting is that the meeting would be continued until June 11th. let me go through and see if any of the,
No, I don't think DEP won't. DEP will not work that quickly, will they, Mr. Buckley? I would suggest the second meeting in June at the soonest.
all right, and that would be
Yeah,
the June 25th.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that's why precisely we wanted to go through the local process and then get the plans into DEP rather than have them go through iterations of the plans. The changes are minor, but if we did not take all the local comments first and then submit to DEP, then you'd go through numerous iterations of their review. They're all, you can't file directly with DEP. Everything's done remotely.
Right. Well, in this particular case, I've not heard of any local comments on the minor engineering changes so far.
Right.
And it may be that nothing is said at the June 25th meeting that will change their proposal for minor engineering changes.
Right. Just for your information, we decided that, expecting that some of the comments that were made tonight would be made, we decided that we would send it into DEP to start the review. So,
Right.
you know,
As you know, DEP does not have a minor engineering change procedure.
no, I understand that, but the superseding order required materials, if there were any changes, to be filed with them.
All right. So let me ask you, Mr. Buckley, if DEP says you must file an amendment, that it's
Do we
not
have
insignificant, then
do we
you would
have to-
file with us for an amendment with us as well.
Under your local bylaw, yes.
Okay. All right. Dawn, any comment?
No comment.
Gail?
Fine, no comment.
Indra?
No comment.
Bill?
No comment.
Jennifer?
No comment.
Ed?
No comment.
Kent?
No comment.
John or Eileen, any further comment?
Just a question for Bob. Has this finished with the planning board?
The minor engineering certificate or the decision is being circulated for signature.
Okay.
Again, the changes are minor. One of the things that we're trying to do is, as you know, John, that most of the remaining land is going to be subject to a conservation restriction.
Right.
And we're trying to start that process, but we don't want to start that process until we're in a position to move forward. So,
Right. Okay.
Okay. Is there anyone else online who would like to make a comment that hasn't spoken yet? Okay. So you folks will file a request to continue to June 25th.
well, should we send that remotely? We'll just file that. We'll just send an email to John. Is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I have one final request, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Everyone stay healthy.
All right. I agree. I will second that. I'll assume that was a motion, Mr. Buckley. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So thank you. And we'll see you on the 25th, folks. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So were any planning board comments, John?
No comments.
Subcommittee and staff reports, John or Eileen? The
Nothing.
commission? Anyone else? Next meeting is June 11th. Next meeting after that is June 25th. Other business?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
What I heard earlier, the ban on water, is that lifted as a full ban and now it's now changed to every other day?
If you go to the town's website, it's on the website. It's like it was in previous summers, every other.
Okay, it is in there. Good. Thank you.
All right. Any other business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Bill,
So moved. Indra.
Okay. Second?
Bill, second.
Okay. How do you vote, Don?
Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
Indra?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I'm sure Bill votes yes. Jennifer?
Aye.
Ed?
I,
The chair votes, let me think about this. Yes. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Folks, be careful out there. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bill,
Have a good night.
have a great
Good
night.
night, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.